Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Thales. This is my channel about English language. We have content ranging from basic to advanced, and we talk about vocabulary, English, grammar, exercises, business, everything about English in general, right? So check it out. More than 700 videos. I've been recording videos since the beginning of 2020, and there is much content to come. This video you're watching right now is about reading articles from the internet, and then we engage in a kind of a conversation. So you can listen to me speaking, you can read some text from the articles, and then understand more about what you're reading, enhancing your vocabulary and making yourself questions. That's the reason I read articles. It's a great way to improve your English, and I highly recommend you to do so on a regular basis, all right? So before we begin, subscribe to the channel, share the content with your friends. I record videos weekly, not every day, of course, but I try to do in a regular basis. Another thing, don't forget to hit the notification bell to get the latest updates, and give a huge thumbs up if you enjoy the content from my channel, okay? So let's get started. On today's topic. Well, you know, this kind of video is a video, if you are new to the channel, in which I select some articles from the internet and I talk about them. We have both Portuguese approaches and 100% English approaches. This video is entirely in English, so we focus on the issue, what is being discussed, while in basic vocabulary videos, I explain the article, I give you some connection to the English grammar, and explain some vocabulary, okay? All right, this is brought from CNBC, right? It's a TV channel, a TV network from the United States, and this topic is about movies. Same day theatrical and streaming releases are dead as a business model, movie theater group CEO says. Okay. Just one disclaimer, I have to tell you, I haven't read this article yet, so I'm reading as you are, as I'm recording this video. So if there is some, if I find some word that I don't know the meaning, I will look for the meaning. But in general, when I record videos in English only, I don't do so because the idea is to explore what's being told in the article, right? Not about giving specific tips about English grammar. You are not going to find it here. All right, so with the pandemic, you know, the streaming got much stronger. Do you have a subscription, a streaming subscription? What kind of streaming services do you subscribe to? And here is saying that same day theatrical releases. What does it mean? It means that you have releases of movies. You have releases of theatrical releases, right, in the movie theater and the streaming services. With the pandemic, this became very common because people were unable to go to the movies. When was the last day you went to the movie theater, to a movie theater? Do you have the habit of going to movie theaters, how often do you go? I can't quite remember the last time I went to a movie theater. It was a long time ago, right? So, do you agree with this statement? Because this CEO, right? CEO, Chief Executive Officer, says that same day releasing in the movie theaters and the streaming at the same time, they are dead. They won't happen anymore. Let's see the article. Okay. I will. Yes, much better now. So, some articles, they have key points, right? What is this about? Key points are, they have points, right, which are key for you to understand the text you're reading. It's like a summary, right? You have a summary of what is being told in the article. And some articles, they have this, and to me it's very useful because it, depending on what you read here, you may have interest in reading the article or not, right? Because, you know, we have such little time to read articles. We have so much information throughout the internet, and we have to select, we have to filter what we are reading. Okay, CinemaCon kicked off with National Association of Theater Owners CEO John Fithian declaring the death of day and date theatrical and streaming releases. Okay. So it was a conference, I believe. CinemaCon is maybe a conference with people from around the industry, the movie theater industry perhaps, I don't know. I haven't heard about it yet. And this CEO says it's dead. The model is dead. Day and date theatrical and streaming releases. What is that about? For example, they are releasing a movie tomorrow. And tomorrow, if you want to, you can open your Netflix account, your Amazon Prime, I don't know, it depends on the movie, right? Because not every release is available to every single streaming service, as they are competitors, you know, they compete with one another. So you may choose either to go to the movies or to watch the movie from home. Many people enjoy much more the experience of watching the movies in a movie theater. What about you? If you have a movie you want so badly to watch, would you rather go to the movie theater or watch it from home? I believe it's much better to watch in a movie theater, but for me, if you want to convince me to go to the movie theater, it takes much effort because I must be a huge fan of that movie that is being released. But some people, they are addicted to movie theaters. They go every week to a movie theater and they watch whatever movie is being released. They don't care about the quality of the movie, or they don't care about the genre of the movie. What about you? What is your profile? This part I have already covered. I mentioned that throughout the pandemic, such releases became a necessary part of the box office recovery process. So what is the box office? Box office recovery process. It means how much money the movie gets, right? What is the box office numbers, figures? How many millions of dollars this movie has obtained, right, since release? So it helps, it became a necessary measure because people weren't going to the movies anymore, right? Due to the pandemic. Now I believe not that the pandemic is over, because every now and then we see some people saying, oh, my a colleague of mine got COVID, but you know, it's much less it has much less impact in our lives than before, because when you got COVID, many people got they had to go to the hospital, or they had severe consequences. And nowadays I believe it's much less severe than before. However, as more consumers have returned to movie theaters, the need for this practice has waned. So you see, many consumers returned to movie theaters, right? What does it mean? It means, I guess I have to clean the lens here. Many people returned to movie theaters. What about you? Have you returned? Jesus Christ, I don't know what's happening. I guess, hopefully, this got better. I don't know what I did, but there is something weird going on here. Do you go to the movie theaters? How often do you go to the movie theaters? Do you believe that when they return to movie theaters to watch a movie, do you believe it's the companies get more money? Of course they get, because the box office, going to the movies, cost much more to the consumers. So they get return from the money they are investing, right? Here we have the man in question, the man on stage during CinemaCon, right? He was giving a presentation in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Now we have here the article itself. So let's see. The death of cinema has been greatly exaggerated. Yeah, many people say, I remember reading some articles from some time ago that many people believed that the movie theater model was waning, was going to die. Why is that? Because there were no consumers. No one was going to the theater. The same happened to various business models, right? Restaurants, many business units, many companies, they had gone bankrupt, right? They closed their doors. So it's natural to assume that the movie theater was going to die. That's the theme emanating from this year's CinemaCon. So this conference got to the conclusion that the cinema is not going, the movie theaters industry is not going to die. Instead, it's the same day release model for theaters and streaming that has kicked the popcorn bucket, according to John Fithian, President and CEO of the National Association of Theater Owners. What does it mean? It means that people, when you say to kick the bucket, what does it mean? It's an expression that means if you say he kicked the bucket, it means that the person died, right? The person has died. And when you say that the model for theaters involving same-day release of a movie for theaters and streaming at the same day, this model has kicked the popcorn bucket. It means that this model is dying, according to John Fifian, President and CEO of the National Association of Theater Owners. Owner, so it means that this person is president of an association regarding people who have movie theaters, right? It's like presidents of movie theater companies. I'm pleased to announce that simultaneous release is dead as a serious business model, and piracy is what killed it. You see? Piracy is a big problem. So what happened? Can you guess what is going on here? Do you understand his statement? If you have a release at the same day in the movie theater and streaming service, many people got early access to the movie and they uploaded the entire movie in torrent services, for example, so that you may be able to watch an entire movie without going to the theater. So this model is dead because of piracy, okay? Fifian said Tuesday in his annual address at CinemaCon. What about you? How do you have access to movie releases? Do you go to the movies? Do you download the movie from some unknown source? Or do you wait until it's released on TV? I guess nobody watches movies on TV anymore. When I was a child, I want to know your opinion about it. When I was a child, I remember waiting until the end of the year. Global released an advertisement saying, oh, these are the movies that you are going to watch throughout the year. So I saw, for example, Friday the 13th, part 6. And I said, oh my God, I want to watch that movie. But, you know, the TV network didn't say when the movie was going to be in the schedule. I didn't know when it was going to be released. So I had this expectation, right? The whole year until the movie was released. Or maybe another option, I had to go to a movie rental place. Yes, to rent some movies, right? Through VCR. Yeah, we had VCR machines and tapes. I had to rent some tapes. And if the place you went to rent didn't have that movie, you had to just say, oh my God, I can't watch this movie because this place hasn't bought the movie. And I said, oh, I want to watch that movie. Can you buy that movie? So I remember giving some recommendation on what horror movies that place could be buying. I remember giving some tips between quotation of the movies I wanted to watch. That was the only way. Nowadays you have streaming services, you have cable TV, and many other types of services throughout the internet, and even some free movies. You find some free movies in which you don't pay copyright for them, but piracy ruined the model of renting movies. Nobody rents movies anymore, I believe. Blockbuster had many stores throughout the United States, and nowadays you just have one store. But it's like a museum, It's like it works. It's sort of a museum. It says, it's the only Blockbuster store left in the world. So many people go there just to visit that place. What about you? I don't know how old you are, but I can imagine if you are in your 30s or 40s, like me, I'm 40 years old. I bet you remember going to a movie rental place. It's a wonderful experience, It's like browsing your Netflix, browsing movies, checking genres and what you want to rent. What I have good memories from that. When a pristine copy of a movie makes its way online and spreads, it has a very damaging impact on our industry. It's very easy to find a copy of a movie nowadays. I know that in Brazil the law doesn't work as well as in the US, but I recall reading articles from the US that if you download illegal movies in the US, sooner or later they get your IP and then you have a fee to pay, right? They say, you downloaded a movie illegally, so we are going to bring you to justice. You have to pay this amount of money. Yeah, it happens in the US. Here in Brazil, I have some people saying from the internet, but I haven't heard anything really serious happening. Nowadays, you have no reason to download illegal movies. Movies are much cheaper, even to watch. You can watch it even on YouTube, or you can rent through your cell phone. Yeah, you can watch a movie, buy a movie, or rent a movie online and stream it online. Vivian's remarks at CinemaCon, which is hosted by the Movie Theater Group, followed a lengthy speech by Charles Rifkin, CEO of the Motion Picture Association, about the dangers of digital piracy and how the MPA is working to combat illegal uploads and downloads of cinematic content. So they are concerned about piracy because it damages the profit the industry gets from the movies, right? On average, quote, so here we have a quote from Rifkin, quote, on average, pre-release piracy can take away as much as 20% of box office revenue, your revenue. Yeah, it's a lot of money, 20%. So the movie gets only 80%, right? The company gets, the industry gets 80% of the revenue because of piracy. And with the right efforts to build awareness with consumers, lawmakers, and the media, we can continue to build a culture that recognizes piracy for what it is, theft, pure and simple, and a direct threat to creators, the creative workforce, and the creative community everywhere. All right. So what does it mean to build awareness? Build awareness, it's to make people realize that they have to combat piracy. And it involves building awareness with consumers, not only with consumers, but involving lawmakers to make laws which punish consumers and to destimulate piracy. And the media itself, right? To have a culture recognizing piracy as theft. And it damages not only the movie makers, because it's an industry. You have the entire workforce. Many people work with movies. And if you damage the amount of money they get, they may provide less jobs, they may have mass firing people, right? And it can damage the whole chain, right? Consumers and service providers, employees, everywhere, right? It damages a whole industry. Throughout the COVID pandemic, day and date releases became a necessary part of the box office recovery process. So it was very common. I bet you remember when we had a movie release and it was released, for example, Matrix. No, Matrix is not a good example because it wasn't released at once. I guess Halloween was released. We had the Halloween Kills movie. I can't remember many examples, but we had many movies. I remember reading about many movies being released at the same time because we had very few movie theaters opened, and the number of consumers going to movie theaters to watch the movies was very low. So they had much less revenue from movie theaters, but they can compensate it with the revenues from streaming. It's not the same, of course. If you compare the revenues they have now with some 3 years ago, it was much larger, right? It was huge, the revenue, and nowadays I believe the industry is recovering. What about you? Have you returned to movie theaters? However, as more consumers have returned to movie theaters, the need for this practice has waned. Theater owners are optimistic that crowds will keep coming back, particularly after the lucrative. I have some doubts how to pronounce this word. Lucrative, yeah, that's right. Sometimes I check the pronunciation of some words because there are some words that we don't see as often. And the more we see that word, the more we practice, it becomes natural that you know how it is pronounced. Sometimes I have some pronunciation doubts, but I check it out as soon as I see the word, right? Lucrative box office performance of Spider-Man No Way Home, The Batman, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. When I was, I remember when I was in in San Francisco, if I wanted, I could watch Sonic the Hedgehog in a movie theater. And I said, no. I don't want to. And the place was empty, but I guess it wasn't during a weekend anyway. But no one was wearing masks, only me. Sometimes I took away my mask because it was no longer necessary to use. For example, when I was in an open space, I didn't wear a mask. Especially when it was sunny, you know? Because I could get sunburned and have... Yes, it would be terrible. But when I went to a closed space, an office or a building or anything like that, I used my masks. People said very high... Spider-Man No Way Home is a great movie. I have watched it already. I watched it during my flight. Yes, I watched it during my flight to San Francisco, actually. It's a great movie. The Batman I haven't watched, and Sonic I intend to watch, but nah, not a huge fan. I guess not in movie theaters. Alright people, that's it for today. I will leave the link for our conversation. Our conversation today was based on this article. I will leave the link so you can read, get more details about it. But don't forget that if you want to, you may read the whole article, right? You can read the whole article and see more words, right? Try to understand the meaning. If you don't know the meaning from a word, I recommend that you type the word and then you type meaning. Like this. Let me show you. Like this, right? Meaning. I don't recommend you to try translation. Because here we are having an intermediate advanced practice, so it's not advisable to think in Portuguese. You have to force your mind, right? To stress your mind to think in English and try to engage in a conversation about various topics, even if you aren't a specialist in it. That's the idea here. It makes me, it gives me an opportunity, these videos, to practice as well. So it's not just you. I am improving my English every day as I study English. So you never stop studying English. It's an everyday activity that you must keep contact with English to know ideas, to know how to express your ideas in a clear and understandable way, to give arguments, right? To show you who you are in English, not just in your native language. So that's it. See you next video. Bye bye.